Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to my channel, Nananyana TV. Today, we're going to talk about snail farming. Join me. Let's see how we can start snail rearing, snail farming, and transition from its layers to the commercial base. Today, farming should be easy. It shouldn't really be on a big land. You can get one big land, let's say an acre, just half plot, and then build a structure and fence it and just give them layers. Divide them into layers and then you start. And progressively on that field or that land, you have a whole lot. We can even become commercial within the small piece of land that you have. Commercial in the sense that you can feed yourself, your family, and try to go the market way, supplying to the external usage, exploring, spreading your tentacles to the market. Yeah, so we're going snail farming. Yes, how you begin and gradually going the commercial way. Today, farming should be easy. It shouldn't be so cumbersome that you're requiring acres of land before you can farm. No, you can start small, generate income, then you build your capacity. Join me. Let's start our snail farming as well.
Snail farming is stressless. You can manage it with any other business that it is you're doing. So once water overshadows them and it's too deep for them to escape, then they'll die. They love watermelon so well. They eat it so well. Just like the way chicken and turkey has their own feed, there is a formulated feed for them. It's not advisable to mix species of snails. You are not to use your hand. The moment you touch the snail with your bare hands, the egg becomes void. It won't hatch. I'll mash, then ground into powder and feed them. And then snails also need calcium in order for their shells not to break, so their hands can kill them, to sting them to death. Fine, they don't just die, but the moment they start dying, then you know that you are in for it. They are so heavy. These ones I bought because they eat. I fed them two watermelon yesterday. I'm Mrs. Gabriel Blessing by name. They are sweet animal, noiseless, odorless, stressless. Their feeding are flexible. It's not cost consuming, and then you don't just die like other livestock. Once it rains, it's very possible for you to see snails around. So you can also unpick them and rear them if you cannot afford buying breeder snails from snail vendors. These breeder snails, the grower and the baby snails at the pen 3 and pen 4 are handpicked from the compound. I only bought the breeder snails from a snail vendor. It's not advisable to mix species of snails. So far I have only Achantina marginata. I have one Achantina fulica. The Achantina lays more egg than any other Achantina. But when I wanted to start, when I asked from different snail vendors, I discovered that the Achantina is not that common. I don't know why, but the Achantina marginata is quite common. Apart from the Achantina, I think the Achantina marginata is also the best for snail farming because it's the adaptability to any kind of weather, unlike the Achantina fulica. Also, the Achantina marginata, they are not as selective as Achantina, and it's popular in the market. Like, that's what people do more. That's what people eat more. So you also be aware of their housing, that is their pen where they will stay. You have to make it conducive for them by putting sand, not just any kind of sand, loamy sand, because the loamy soil, it's more comfortable. The sandy soil is too coarse. It can contain water, like when you put some water in sandy soil to sink. Meanwhile, the loamy soil to adapt the water, not just putting sand. You put dry plantain leaves as well. Even though it's expected to use dried plantain leaf, but if you don't have dry plantain leaf, you can make do with the fresh plantain leaf. You get the wood, the net, so that hair can penetrate the wood, the net. And then I also did a roof over them because sun should not eat them directly. So in constructing a snail pen is a carpenter job. You tell them what you want and how you want it. These are leftover remnants from watermelon. This is what they eat, the watermelon remaining too. So even watermelon that you get from Abuki after they've sold it, they can still eat, they can still feed on it if you don't have funds to buy watermelon as watermelon. But definitely the nutrients will be more if they feed on the whole watermelon. But from my own experience, I discovered that when you give them food in the morning and you come back in the evening from work, you meet the food the same way it is. But when you give them food in the night, they come out as they are like that inside there. When you open it, they are not out. But in the night, all of them will be out, waiting for them to be served. Once the weather is getting dark, around 7:30, 8, they are all out. The only thing they don't eat is this, as flat as this thing I'm cutting off. I feed them garbage. I feed them vegetables from the market, be it choko, be it tete, but they don't eat that as much as they eat the watermelon. And then I made formulated feed for them as well. Just like the way chicken and turkey has their own feed, there is a formulated feed for them. It's a mixture of wheat, oyster shell. So this is a mixture of maize, wheat, offals, groundnut cake, eggshell, dry fish bone. So the source of calcium is eggshell and their own. Now I said I had 2 mortalities. This is it. So I'll mash, then ground into powder for them and feed them. Their shell will start breaking if they don't have enough calcium. So they need calcium. The shell is weak, although I'm picked. But by the time I'm done mixing my calcium for them, I'll feed them and they will recover. Once you don't know what to do at the right time, fine, they don't just die. But the moment they start dying, then you know that you are in for it. So the challenges of them dying could result from probably their feeding or the environment is not conducive for them. I wet them daily. Now the weather is cool compared to when the weather will be hot. That will be hot season. You make sure you wet them. If you have the time, you can wet them afternoon when the weather is very hot, because they don't like hot environments. They like an humid environment, cool precisely, not cold at the same time, but cool. Once I'm spraying them water, they all come out, they explore, or they come out of their shell, like they want the water to touch them. Most especially when the weather is very hot. Snails can drown if the water is too much for them to escape. They only have lungs, so they can't breathe inside water. So once water overshadows them and it's too deep for them to escape, then they will die. They poo a lot. It's not right for poo to be with them. I pick as much as I can. Keep going. be devoted to it. Never stop learning. So far so good. I learn, I google every day, I ask questions every day about snail farming. So keep going, never stop learning, be determined, know what you want. This is what I want, and then you go for it.
So, the first thing you need to know is, please be sure you have a secured place for your snails. Snails are escapists. They can lift 6 times their weight. They can lift a load 6 times their weight. So what you actually need to do is to ensure you have an enclosed system. It can be a cage like this. Now this cage has like 4 compartments. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so and if you are having this kind of cage, ensure that you are able to build something that when it is sunny, it will not be too hot inside. So like we have wire gaze, for ventilation. And there are different types of farming. We have soil farming and soilless farming. Okay, this type is a soil farming. Okay, and for the kind of soil you are going to use must be a good nutritious soil. So basically we advise you use a sandy loam soil. All right, my name is Oluwatobi Atilade. I'm the director of the Upward Ventures, but now it's changed to the Upward Snails and Agro Services.
Yeah, my name is Timothy Abolade. I'm the business guy behind the farm and everything.
Okay, for me, if you ask me what year I started snail farming, apparently it should be close to around 15, 17 years now. But if you ask me when did I actually start it as a business, this is the 6th year. So I started since 2018, basically as a business structure. So after you have your soil in your pen, they must be at a particular level before you supply your snails inside the pen. So the moment you have your soil, if your soil is wet, you don't need to add more water to the soil. But if your soil is as dry as this, then you can see how dusty it is, so you probably need to add more water. Okay, so for instance, we have here a plastic. In this plastic, this is where we put in their water. Sometimes if we don't put their water in, we get to put in their feed. We have 2 of this plastic on a normal ground. We have 2 of this plastic inside. And if you don't have this kind of plastic, you can get a tray. This chicken feeding trough or feeding chicken tray. You can actually make use of that. Then introduce it into your pen. Then ensure you position it at a particular point wherein the snails have even feeding and even drinking. I don't know if you get that point. So then after you wet, please ensure you wet enough. This is just a demo of what you need to do. The moment you wet enough, because it is dry season, that's why you see me pouring water this way. Now before I proceed, please, whenever you are starting your snail farm, don't start in the afternoon period. Start in the cool hour of the day. Don't introduce your snails in a very hot season. Let it be in the cool hour of the day, either early in the morning or late or somehow around 5, 6, 7 p.m. in the evening. These are the period when snails actually are feeling more relaxed and are becoming proactive. Why? They are nocturnal animals. Another thing you should know is that don't stress your snails in the afternoon too much. You don't need to come and check them in the afternoon period. Leave them alone. Let them enjoy their life. Let them sleep. Let them rest. Okay, so just this part. I'm only going to wet this part so as to avoid too much of. Ooh, we handled like 1,000 to 1,005. Yes, 1,000 to 1,005. It was massive. We're looking for space, looking for pen. That's what we call it in snail farming. Looking for a breeding point, like, my God, where do you want to pack these snails? But you know, the most amazing aspect of it is it was at that point buyers were coming in. So there was a need for us to sell and then restock, sell. So, and this is something most beautiful thing about snails. They are highly prolific. Once they hit that level of prolificacy, now you go tire because you'll be looking for space and more space if you are not really prepared to raise snail farming. You must just be prepared for enough space for them to thrive. So with that, everything is settled. Now, this is another system called keg system. The other one is a cage system. So this is a keg system. In this keg, there are snails. I have species of snails in here. I have different species of snails in here. Now, okay, I would love to show you their species. So I have 3 species of snail here. As you can see, this is AA. This is Achatina achatina. This is AM, Achatina marginata, while this is AF, Achatina fulica. Okay, this one is commonly seen around. Let me get to show you the smaller version of this because it's gonna be confusing. Like, this thing is big, oh, it's gonna be confusing. So this is it. This one you get to see, it's a garden snail. You see it around your compound. This is AF. Okay, you see the pointed, see it all around. This is AM. Now this is marginata, Achatina marginata. See the blunted point compared to the AA, which has the sharpened point. Then look at it, has like a tiger skin shell, and this does not have a tiger skin shell. Can you see the difference? Okay, one is darker than the other. If you look close enough, you understand that one is darker than the other. Okay, so if I'm introducing, let me assume I'm introducing these snails into the pen now. So what I need to do is I will need to bait these snails in fresh water. Okay, but because they're actually in their pen, I'll need to move them in.
You need to know the species of snail you want to rear. There are different species. We have different species and they have their own qualities. What differentiates them from each other, the size, how big they can grow, the production, how they breed and everything. So you have to decide mainly. But one of the easiest, or how would I put it, to rear for farming, for business, is the Araginta marginata. They grow big and they produce well. So another thing is you have to look for space, the housing where you will keep them. Although you might not start big, you can start with a container. I remember back then you can start with tire, you just put tire, you put other stuff. So you can start small, then keep growing from there.
You see, snails and some other, another pest, they require the same atmosphere to thrive. Some other predators, or let me call them pests, like ants, like cockroach, like earthworm. Earthworm is not a predator. Earthworm is not against snail thriving in the pen. In fact, earthworm is very encouraged in your pen. If you see earthworms in your pen, that means your soil is fertile. It means snails can actually thrive in it. So the earthworms in your snail pen actually will help you clean. They are like cleaning services, cleaning agents. They will help you clean up dirt in the snail pen, so that you probably may not get to do junk of work when you come to check on them. All right. So what you then need to do is ensure you run away from pests like ants. Anytime you start seeing like red ants. Okay, I have a video on my YouTube channel. It's a broadcast video. You can go ahead, check it, The Upward Ventures YouTube, and check The Upward Ventures. Check for some of the videos. They are very encouraging and very educating videos. Please check it. I get to show you how to deal with red ants, especially when you have invasion of ants in your snail pen. Okay, there was a video I needed to do, and oh, sorry, it's trying to move. It's telling me leave me alone. It's trying to move. Can you see the high? Okay, that's the antenna, and the other one down there is the high. The antenna will definitely get to see vibrations. The other one down there is the high. Okay, you see, when I started this business, I went to the internet, made a lot of research, and on the internet I got to see that snails they are competitive to human consumption. Like, they eat exact human food, aside from pepper, salt, some of those things that should not be given to them. So in my mind, I was like, confirm. So I can give my snails anything. So I started giving my snails yam peels, cassava, flour. I will, after pounding yam, any fragment of the pounded yam left, I'm going to give them, and at a point in time, I started giving them bread and butter. Wow, I was like, confirm, my snails will be very, very, when I give them bread and butter, they will finish it. And to cut the long story short, I observed that the more I give them yam and yam peels and anything around the yam, the more I receive a lot of mortality. So in the long process, I discovered that I need to stop giving them yam or yam peel or anything around yam. Why? Because it really bloats them so fast and they die untimely. Shortly, you will see a big snail doing well, eating fine. The moment you introduce yam or anything around yam, whatever, to the pen, the following day go there, you will see the whole neck bloated. Then ensure when you are feeding your snail, do well to remove debris, do well to remove leftovers 24 hours. Every 24 hours. The kind of feed you are giving to your snail must be enough to feed on within 24 hours. If it's more than 24 hours, please, you need to do well to go for the training. It is very, very important. Okay, another thing is, see how big the snail is. Oh, see how big. Come on, open your teeth. It's tracking inside. Ooh, come on, this is beautiful. Okay, so another thing you should get to know is, please avoid, like I mentioned the other time, avoid the use of salt, hot water, pepper, and chemicals. Please, fumigation is not a good way of taking care of your snail. Never fumigate your snail. Never fumigate the environment. Anything chemical that the odor will ooze out so much that you affect the pen. Please do well not to use it in the snail pen. Okay, there are other things you need to do in snail farming that can be helpful, but you need to see the training. You need to go for the training. There are a lot of things you will need to know. You may not get the details of all you need to know about snail farming in this clip, okay, but get knowledge. It is very, very important. Don't get knowledge from people who just collect your money and run away. Don't go and buy book online and you will not be able to consult the writer of the book. Don't just dabble into a Facebook or Instagram handle of someone who is doing snail and does not really have a track record of a training, or is not even boastful of whatever thing he or she is doing. So I am telling you officially, and I am humbly telling you this, please go for knowledge. There are few people who actually know how this snail farming runs. A very few number of them. If you fall into the hands of wrong people, the beautiful aspect of snail farming is, if you are patient enough, you will eat the fruit of the land. If you are patient enough, And if you are the type of person that is not really patient, you really want to learn how to make money from snail, you necessarily do not have to be a snail farmer before you start making any income from it. Okay, look at the skin again. That's how you get to spot the difference between AA and AM. This is AM on my right hand, as you can see, and on my left hand, this is AA. That is Achatina achatina. The AM is called Achatina marginata. So this is AA, Achatina achatina. You know, it has a pointed edge. Can you see? Compared to that of the AM. Can you see the difference? And one is having more meat than the other. You can't compare. That's why you hear that they call the AM. This is what is called African giant snail, because it grows large. Okay, let's introduce these guys into the pen. Normally, because I want to show you for now, I can introduce the two of them, but I can't leave the two of them together in the same pen because they feed more than each other. They don't consume the same thing. Okay, so now this space, as you can see alone, can contain nothing less than these sizes. For this kind of size, this is the medium size. This is a medium snail size. Basically, this is what people actually ask for in snail farming. Okay, this is the kind of, this is very, very, very profiting, especially in the market. It is a market size to some extent. This is the medium size. If you see the jumbo size, you will shout to. Then you introduce, once you have your water, they introduce another plate here that is for the feed. Then put a quantity of feed. Now, the kind of food they feed on, we talk about fruits, we talk about vegetables,
What kind of fruit?
every fruit that human being eats. You can ask me further questions on what can they eat this, they eat banana, they eat apple, they eat pineapple, they eat watermelon, orange, tell me other fruit, pawpaw, carica papaya, what other thing? They eat watermelon, they eat watermelon. Ask me any other fruits. What other fruits? They are just, yes, they eat coconut, but be careful not to give them the coconut with the water. Ensure you rinse it well because it is salty. Coconut has a level of salt in it. Another thing you should be able to know, please don't waterlog your snail pen. It is dangerous for them. I'll show you an example here. Now, for instance, please come closer. Come and see this. This is a pen for the AA. You can see the waterlog. You can see the cucumber. Sorry, the cabbage leaf. Okay, sea water inside. Now, because it is waterlogged, their activity is actually limited. Now, assuming it is not waterlogged, this is waterlogged. I need to take out the water practically and ensure that it is okay for them to actually survive in. Once it is waterlogged, their activity is restricted. Okay, so this is AA. I have my AM here as well. Now I have my AM here, as you can see them. This is still this is still what's it called, keg. This is still a keg system, so you can have this around you. You can have this around you wherever you may actually be.
Yeah, snail farming is very profitable. Why? It's easy and cheap to run. Let me put it that way. Cheap to run.
Yeah.
Why? You don't have to get their feeds, but you don't have to spend expensive money to. When you see poultry farmers during this time, they complain, feed is taking our money, feed is taking our money. It's not like that with snail. Why? Because you can feed your snails with a lot of vegetables. And once your snail starts laying eggs and giving everything, what you started with like 100, you can just discover within, you can have 1,000 snails.
Yeah.
And the funniest part is that the price of snail is going up, like it's not coming down, and especially when it gets to dry season like this, that's when the apex of the markets, like you, and so you can, let's imagine probably you start with a snail 150, 250, 350, when you are selling 1,000 and above, and what it will cost you is just the normal vegetable and everything. Another thing is that a lot of places or a lot of people are buying snails. Restaurants, hotels, eatery, they are buying snails. And another thing is that snails is used in manufacturing of drugs, the slime and everything. As in there's hardly any part of snail that is a waste.
You can say that again.
There's hardly any part of snail that is a waste. So, like, it's like you are eating a gold mine, like when you are into snail. And when you are buying or when you are starting, if you document the amount you spent, I can assure you that within a year you'll have made more than almost times 10. Like, it's that profitable. It's very easy to rear. Doesn't cost much actually to rear. Once you know everything you need and you stick to the rules of the game, let me put it that way. So it's very, very profitable. I can say it's probably one of the most profitable animals to rear.
Some of the stuffs we are into, okay, like you can see in my hand here, okay, please help me with this, thank you. Now this is a processed snail meat, you know, can you see these are snails? These are actual snails. This is one snail, oh, see how big it is, just one. Okay, we have snails. Okay, if I open it, actually because I'm not with a glove now, I probably may not be able to open and show you more. So, but these are the snails inside. You should get to know how can you market your snails. Who are those eating snails? Where should I sell my snails to? All of these things, one after the other, is well illustrated in the video. So I look forward to see you